Well, hello everyone. We are back with another video, and today is going to be a very special video. You know why? Because we are talking about Winter Storm Izzy. Yes, Winter Storm Izzy is already out there, and it's time for my official snowfall forecast for every single region that is going to be affected by the storm. This is going to be one of the most major storms ever, especially for the south in many years. So let's get right into it. All right, everyone, taking a look here, we have already Winter Storm Izzy going up here through the Great Lakes, about to go right in and also to the south. So right now it's only affecting areas such as Iowa, Minnesota, and I believe that's South Dakota. Yes. And this storm has already bring a lot of snowfall in some regions over there, probably a few inches. But this storm does move in, and when it does, it's gonna dip down fast. Everything down here will switch from rain to snow, and it will be heavy. Look at this; it gets very intense. All this cold going shooting right into the south. You can even see freezing temperatures in Texas, even Lake Charles in Louisiana. But still, we have a major storm here. As we move forward, it brings a lot of snowfall into some regions. Look at that freezing rain there. That would be very hazardous and dangerous conditions. This storm is just going to wrap around very intensely and just bring down a lot of cold air. And this gets very messy over here. There's sleet, there's freezing rain, there's mixed precipitation, there's rain, thunderstorms, heavy snow, anything you name it. It's gonna be very messy. So as we move forward here, we could see it intensifies even more. And we have a lot of severe weather down right here. Even some places in Washington, D.C. could see a lot of snowfall. It's just going to shoot right up through the Northeast, just going to pelt it like a bullet. This is going to be an extreme event because as we look over here, it, it actually transfers its energy off the coast, which means it has the opportunity to strengthen a little bit before it just pummels the Northeast with heavy snowfall. And it intensifies even further as it moves, and it smashes right into New England, where it brings whiteout conditions, blizzard condition, you would call it, and so much cold air that the U.S. will be very, very cold, especially for the East. And not only will this be super cold, it will be a major Arctic blast for this region, for these regions, especially Michigan, since it's right in the middle of it. This will be a lifetime of a storm if you live in any of these regions, especially in the south, because it will be your first major snowstorm since the blizzard of '93, which will happen, such as people from Atlanta always asking, "Hey, when is my next snowstorm? When is my next snowstorm?" Well, ever since that blizzard, we have had many opportunities, but it never happened. This is your opportunity. It will happen because if this storm happens, it's going to be one of a lifetime. So this will be it for the GFS, but let us move on to the Euro model. All right, everyone, this is the Euro model. So we are already going to start right into the Euro model as we look at, I was about to say tropical storm. Sorry, winter storm, Izzy. I'm always getting my seasons mixed up. But here we go. We also have these very, very heavy to moderate snowfall for most of the Midwest as it goes very down south, switching from rain to snow. But the Euro does have a little bit more mixing issues going on for a lot of areas, so that could minimize the snow totals. But I think some of that mixed precipitation might move it to Atlanta, so Atlanta could see some few flurries, but mostly just rain. And we also have that ice storm, as we've been talking about. A lot of freezing rain here, a lot of heavy snow to the north of that in the Appalachian Mountains as it moves up, and some for the Ohio Valley as it strengthens right off North Carolina and goes straight up, bringing more cold air to mainly the southeast. And when it does, it's going to sharply turn up, but instead of that, the Euro model and the GFS are completely different, and I'll show you why. But let me just explain that this is also as very heavy as the GFS model, but it does enhance more of that lake effect snow going on there. So it could cause some major snow totals if you live near the lakes. So this will be it for the Euro model. It does bring it out of year very quicker. It does intensify a little bit more on the GFS model, but let me show you why the tracks are different. I mean, except for this part going down the Midwest, that is completely accurate. They have the same exact idea, just a little bit different on the precipitation. But here's the thing. The Euro model doesn't do anything with it, because as you see here, it stops right here. Now, I'm going to mark the Euro model in red. So it does it oh, sorry. Oh no. That's a blooper. Well, so here we are. I'm going to mark the Euro model in red. Actually, I'll do the GFS first. The GFS starts right here, goes right down toward here, a little bit more north, but it does exit a little bit near the Delmarva, but does some sort of twist pattern right here, and then just goes right into New England like that. Now, the Euro model, I'm going to mark in blue. The Euro model does something a little bit different. It does have the same starting point, just a little bit more south right here, going near the low pressure system. But here's the thing though, it exits a little bit more south, but it then does this. It just goes right in like that. So two completely different tracks, each bringing their own possibility of other things. So everything that you see in between these red and blue lines, that's pretty much almost guaranteed that's the track. But when it gets up here, we have no idea what the track is up here, since this is such an unpredictable storm. So it remains in question. What is this storm going to do? Well, we'll find out in a future video, but today we're probably going to most likely be talking about the snow totals in the southeast and the Midwest. So, hang tight, because we are now moving on to the snowfall totals from each model, then my snowfall forecast. Alright, everyone, here we are with the GFS model. Let me just switch real quick. Alright, so here are the total snowfall here as we wait for this to load. So, first of all, the GFS is showing a little bit of snowfall already has occurred in a few inches in some areas due to the early parts of the snowstorm. It does intensify even more, bringing down a lot more snowfall here, even up to half a foot in some areas. We even see that trend going south. I mean, look at this path. You can clearly see the path it's taking by the amount of snowfall it has. So, this is going to be an extreme event, especially for the south, the more south you go. As we see, we have multiple amounts of snow here. It just does a huge curve going straight toward the northeast. So, what can we expect from the storm? A lot of areas with above half a foot. Even some areas of North Carolina getting around more than 2 feet probably in some areas. But I could probably say that we can experience a lot more snowfall in the south than we anticipated at first. Even Atlanta getting a little bit of snowfall there. Mississippi all the way down there, even reaching toward the border of Florida for a coating, maybe a few snowflakes. But progress forward, we have some of that lake effect snow there. You can clearly see that huge band of lake effect snow that's going to occur here due to the warm temperatures trying to rush in toward the storm right here. Because you see, as we progress forward, the warm air tries to go right here and tries to go right in it as the storm exits, so it's going to cause some lake effect snow there. In some areas near the coast up here, I feel really bad for you. So if you live near a coast right here, it's not looking likely you're going to see anything at all, basically. But there is hopes for another nor'easter that I'm going to make another video about. So stay tuned for that. Now, as we switch over to the European model, we can clearly see that the European model says that there has more snowfall that has fallen so far, even more than half a foot in some isolated areas. But we can clearly see that trend south. I think the European model is going a little bit lighter toward the Missouri and Arkansas areas because those areas are looking likely that they are seeing less and less snowfall with every model run. But yep, we can clearly see that lake effect snowstorm or snowfall. So we can clearly see that because of this heavy band of red, dark red, I would say. But yeah, that will be it for the European model because we do see some snowfall in some areas. Even up to Tennessee, all the way up to Maine, you can be seeing isolated areas of more than a foot to maybe 2 feet in some areas, especially near the lakes. But as we can see, where there is a little bit of a gap here where you're going to see absolutely nothing. But there is hopes for another nor'easter on the way, like I told you, as we look at the GFS model. We are going to be looking at that after Winter Storm Izzy goes by, so stay tuned for that. But that will be it for the snowfall totals from each model, and now it's time for the total snowfall amounts according to me. So let's get right into it. This is it. This is Winter Storm Izzy snowfall forecast. So, starting right off, we can see a less than 2 inch range across much of the US. This is a very widespread storm, except for these areas in here. I don't expect you to get anything, probably a few flurries or so, but most of the storm will be south here and more for the northeast, especially. And starting over here where the storm is now, it has dumped a few inches of snow in some places. So, anywhere in these areas, these cyan areas or light blue, you would call it, you are going to receive less than 2 inches of snow. But if you get into these 2 to 6 inches of snow, you will see more darker blue. And then finally, we have 6 to 12 inches in this tiny region where the Minnesota and Iowa border are. And we have the east part of the storm where we get 2 to 6 inches through a lot of the areas still. Less than 2 inches probably for mainly the coastal regions and interior regions, but most 2 to 6 in some areas. Then we have the 6 to 10 where the more heavier bands are gonna fall, and then finally we have the 12 plus inches where these are the higher elevations that will receive way more snowfall and way more of those bands, and also this part of 12 plus inches in the red. Anywhere red is more than a foot. So these 12-inch regions are calling for lake effect snow in this area, but high elevation snow in these areas. But anyway, this is your snowfall forecast, and I hope you enjoyed it because it did take a little bit of a while to measure everything, average everything out so I can make this forecast. But other than that, let's move on to our last thing called the weather fact of the day. Alright, everyone, this is your weather fact of the day, and it's the snowiest city on Earth is in Japan. This is actually a true fact, so let's read it. Aomori, city in northern Japan, receives more snowfall than any other major city on the planet. Each year, citizens are pummeled with 312 inches of snow, or about 26 feet of snow on average. What? That is absolute insane. Just imagine if the US had that. That would be the most horrific event ever. That is just a very exciting thing. So, if you are in Japan, then you should probably check this place out because it seems to have a lot of snow. So if you want to see snow in your lifetime, guaranteed, I guarantee you, if you probably go to Japan, you'll see a lot of it. But anyways, that will be it for today's video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and also put on post notifications for more weather related content. That's it, everyone. Ty interpreting weather out.